So we're here with Dr. David Caruso, who spoke with our group at YMI a short time ago. David, thank you so much for your wisdom and for sharing with us about emotional intelligence. And you spoke with our group about emotional intelligence and how important that can be in countless fields, among them the field of youth ministry. Can you explain for those listening here what EI is?
Thanks. And thank you for that opportunity. I really felt it as an honor to be asked, very much so. So emotional intelligence, sometimes people call it EQ. And for me, someone like me with my background, I see those as really different things. But most people come to this because they've read a popular book or an article in a newspaper saying like, oh, this is an amazing thing that's like 10 times as important as everything else. Our approach, we're a lot more conservative, I think, than that. So the theory was first developed in 1990 by two psychologists, John goes by Jack Mayer, and Peter Salovey. It was then picked up in the popular press and it's almost like a Rorschach ink blot for a lot of people. It's anything except, intelligence. But our view is, it's really specific because it's a set of hard skills. It's not about necessarily being nice or assertive or warm. All those things are wonderful, but it's a set of hard skills. And they consist of four related skills. The first is perceiving emotions. It's the answer to the ubiquitous "how are you" question. Like, how are you, but really? And then what about somebody else? Again, as a youth minister, whether it's with a group or one-on-one, knowing how you are entering that situation, but also that person before you, that's a really important bit of data to get. And that takes skill. Some people are better at it than others. Now, that's skill one of four. Once you know that, it's these feelings, these emotions impact you. So if I say I'm having a tough day, I'm a little sad. Two things about that. One is that people in a sad mood, we don't want those we minister to or families or friends to be sad, but there's a place for it. There's a time for every emotion, and that's one of them. So if you've identified that, you also want to make that connection. So the second skill is, let me just lower my volume a little bit. Let's us connect for that moment and feel your sadness, emotional empathy. Now, once we've done that, and then many of us go into the questioning mode. So what's going on? Which is the third ability, right? Which is understanding emotions. Well, tell me what's happening. What's going on? And that also involves a little bit of language. So depending on the ages you're working with, the stereotypical uncommunicative teenager, what's going on? Or how was school? And many of adults like me still do that as well. Like, how are you? I know. So understanding emotions as the third hard skill is understanding exactly how you're feeling, but now like fine tune the words and the vocabulary, understanding the underlying reasons for that. Go back to sadness. So what happened? Why are you sad? Because it assumes there's some sort of loss that you've experienced. And by the way, this is where a lot of us mess up, which is then that person in front of us says, oh, I'm really sad because this happened. And some people think, well, really? You shouldn't be sad about that. But they are. So it's also that cognitive empathy piece. And then the fourth skill, hard skill, is managing emotions. We all lead busy, complex, inner, rich, emotional lives. And how can I minister to people when I am suffering myself, or I have all these competing demands and everybody thinks I'm there for them? And, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep as it is. And you're coming to me with your, so there's this aspect of I have to take care of myself a little bit, but now how do I manage your emotions and not to suppress them, right? People also confuse it like, don't feel that, or I need to show my own strength. It's really if emotions are data, how do I stay open to the data of emotions? Still show that compassion, but that so we're not overwhelmed. So at the end of our talk, I want you to leave feeling a little better and heard and validated and acknowledged, and you have a path forward. So 4 hard skills of emotional intelligence. Sounds really easy. It's a really simple model. It's so hard to do this well,
Yeah.
especially in real time. Like just talking about it now, well, that sounds pretty easy, but yeah, not in real time.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't sound like you necessarily arrive at step 4 and then you're done with the process. These things are cyclical.
Oh yeah.
So you might do well in a moment and then 10 minutes later you're not there. If I'm getting that right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. It's real time, right? This
Yeah.
this is a cyclical thing, and one emotion begets another, and so forth. So
Yeah. Thank you.